All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are going to tackle a super modern question about artificial intelligence. But here's the twist. Our guide for this isn't some tech guru. Nope. We're turning to a philosopher who lived 800 years ago.
So, here's the puzzle at the heart of it all. AI systems can now generate these absolutely breathtaking images. They can write stories that are really compelling. They can even code complex software. But can we really call that true skill? Can we even call it a virtue in the classic sense of the word? To really get to the bottom of this, we first need to lock down a solid definition of what skill, or as we'll call it, art, truly is. And for that, we need to do a little time traveling. So meet our guide, the medieval philosopher Thomas Aquinas. Now, obviously, he wasn't thinking about algorithms, but he was completely fascinated by the nature of human skill, which he called by its Latin name, ars. And this definition is where things get really interesting. For Aquinas, ars has absolutely nothing to do with emotion or self-expression. It's an intellectual virtue. It's about having the correct knowledge, the right reasoning to successfully make something, whether that's a chair, a statue, or even a piece of code. Then Aquinas makes this incredibly powerful distinction. He separates the act of making something, an action that creates an object out in the world, from the act of doing something, which is all about our internal choices. Art, or ars, fits squarely into the making category. It's all about producing an external work. Our moral choices, on the other hand, that's all about doing. And that's the territory of a totally different virtue, prudence. And this split between making and doing, well, it completely changes how we think about evaluating not just the art, but the artist too. And here is the absolute key. The virtue of art is all about the final product. We judge a watchmaker by how well their watch keeps time, right? Not by their moral character. When it comes to ars, the quality of the work is the only thing that really matters. So this leads to a pretty wild idea. A brilliant engineer, who might be, let's say, a morally questionable person, can design a flawless bridge. According to Aquinas, we can praise their technical skill, their ars, as a genuine virtue of the intellect, and that is completely separate from how we judge them as a person. So how in the world does this 800-year-old idea help us understand the ghost in the machine? Let's take this framework of ars and apply it directly to AI. If we use Aquinas' logic, the whole process becomes incredibly clear. The programmer or the data scientist, they're the one exercising ars. They're using the right reason to make something. And the thing they make? It's the AI model itself. That algorithm is the product of their intellectual virtue, their technical skill. So, let's go back to the big question. Who is the artist? Well, from this perspective, it's the human creator. The AI model is the masterpiece, or, maybe the flawed creation of their skill. The AI itself doesn't have reason or virtue. It's an incredibly advanced tool that just extends the creative power of its human maker. But here's the thing. This exact separation of technical skill from the goodness of the creator, the very thing that helped us understand AI, also shines a light on a really serious modern problem. Remember, Aquinas was crystal clear. Ars is about the good of the thing being made. Prudence, or moral wisdom, is about the good of the person who is acting. They're two different virtues, and they absolutely do not always go hand in hand. And this forces us to ask a really critical question for our technological age. What are the consequences when we develop this immense, almost perfect technical skill, our ars, without also growing our moral wisdom, our prudence, right alongside it? Because when we have this incredible power to make things, and it's completely disconnected from the wisdom of how we ought to act, we end up creating some powerful and pretty dangerous new risks. And look, this isn't just philosophy. This problem of art without virtue is the root of some of our biggest technological headaches today. Deepfakes are technically brilliant, a high form of ars, but they can be used without any prudence for deception. Algorithms that perfectly optimize for a goal without any ethical guardrails? That's another perfect example of technical skill that's totally lacking moral wisdom. So this all brings us to a final, pretty challenging thought. By separating the quality of the work from the will of the worker, have we accidentally built a world that prizes technical perfection above everything else? As we continue to build more powerful AI, we really have to ask ourselves, are we creating a world that's dominated by art, but without the guiding hand of virtue? It's definitely something to think about.